Hello everyone and welcome to another Starcraft 2 video. For this one, I'm going to be showing you a Protoss build where you supply cap yourself at 15 for 32 seconds, and this build actually makes sense. So what we're going to be doing is comparing. On the left is a classic Nexus first build, so we're going to be going Pylon before Nexus, and on the right we are going to be going Nexus before Pylon. So big difference there. So you can see on the right we are approaching 15 supply, and we're going to stay there for a long time. Meanwhile, on the left, we're able to constantly produce workers and get a large worker lead. And we'll see how these two different builds work out. So there goes down the Nexus on the right, followed by finally the Pylon. Meanwhile, on the left, we're able to continue building workers. You can see we already have a 2-worker lead, 17 versus 15, and that will just expand. However, on the right, we've already hit the saturation limit of 16 of 16 on the main base. So at this point we can either oversaturate the main base, but typically what people do is they just distance mine to the natural. Both give a little bit extra mineral income, but this way you don't have to, fix your mineral line when the Nexus finishes. It's already set up. So you don't get that much more income here because on the right we hit 15 of 16 for quite a while. For this test, we're just going to do Pylon, one tech structure, and then Pylon just to keep it consistent. Yeah, so we have a 2-3 worker lead for the left, but this is where the advantage starts to kick in on the right-hand side. This Nexus is going to finish, and it's going to give a bunch of advantages. One is we can start producing workers earlier. 2 is it starts generating chrono boost energy sooner. And 3 is now we're no longer distance mining with our extra workers. We actually have every worker mining correctly, not distance mining. So it started catching up on the mineral intake as well. So we're just going to finish this test at 32 workers. So we'll go right up until 16 of 16 on both sides, and then we'll compare the numbers and see which is better, the classic Nexus first build versus the supply cap yourself forever Nexus first build. And then after that, I'll talk a little bit about how this would apply to like real game scenarios with my limited Protoss knowledge. So we're just about to hit, and the right hand side is going to hit 32 workers before the left, just by about a second. So we can stop it here and take a look at the numbers. So classic Pylon into Nexus gets 32 workers at 3-minute mark. And at the 3-minute mark, it had mined 1,426 minerals. Now going Nexus before Pylon, the one on the right, got 32 workers 1 second sooner, but was actually 50 minerals behind on mineral intake. So that's not as good. However, you do have that 1 second earlier worker, and you do have an extra 14 chrono boost energy on your Nexus. So that can possibly make up that 50 mineral shortfall, but maybe not. The biggest advantage, though, for the right side is that your first tech structure gets down 10 seconds sooner. And for instance, for myself, when I play PvZ, what you can do is you can go Nexus first, send your probe across the map in a way that avoids overlords, and still have time to get behind his natural, build a pylon, build a couple cannons, and set up a cannon rush that completes just after the hatchery finishes for a hatchery first build from Zerg. Now, you can't do that with the build on the left, because when the hatchery finishes and you still have another 12-13 seconds left on your cannons, then he can actually kill his cannons off before your cannon rush completes. And on the same note, if you go for the cannon rush and notice he doesn't have a hatchery, so he went pool first and is going to Zergling rush you, well, either build can finish off a wall in time, but the one on the right, the Nexus before Pylon, can throw down the cannon 10 seconds earlier. So the Zerglings can't even pick away at your wall or threaten to break in because the cannon's more or less complete when the Zerglings arrive. Now, I can't speak too much for other sort of matchups or other Nexus first openers. I'm sure most Nexus first go into Gateway, but I would have to imagine that most Nexus first openers are weak to aggression, like a really like cheese and early aggression. And getting that key thing 10 seconds sooner is probably the difference between losing a lot or dying and, you know, or handling it properly. Like if you finish off the wall with your Cybercore 10 seconds earlier, or if you get out your first Cannon or Zealot or Adept 10 seconds earlier, or you get your first Stargate unit 10 seconds earlier. It doesn't seem like that much time, but with how tight things are with the Nexus first build, I'd have to imagine the 10 seconds can make a huge difference in a lot of scenarios. So just something to think of for you people who like making builds. I know it's not obvious that supply capping yourself for over 30 seconds at 15 would actually work out to a good build. So I don't think many people have thought of this, but as you can see, pretty good. You catch up on workers, you almost catch up on mineral intake, and you get a few leads, and your tech is much faster by 10 seconds. So hope you guys enjoy, and that's about it. I'm gonna go back to making ravens. See you guys.